Hello VC people, it's Matt and I haven't made a video in a while, but today is a special anniversary, so I thought I would come on and just sort of ramble a bit and talk about it to commemorate it. Probably ramble a little more than I usually do, and that's quite a lot, but haven't really prepared for this one like I should have. But anyway, it's November 22nd, and first of all, happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Hope you're having a lot of good food to eat, and I hope you're spending time with friends and family and having a great day of it, and remembering what it is that you're thankful for in particular. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And November 22nd also is a funny date. Most people associate it with President Kennedy in 1963, and certainly that's a factor, but it's also the date that four very good albums, four albums that I would rate a 10, came out on that date. Four albums that I know of, there might be more. But 1963, the same day as the Kennedy assassination, this came out in England, which of course would become Meet the Beatles in America with a few changes. But we didn't really know who the Beatles were yet, most people in America, but we would find out here pretty soon. Also in 1963, one of the best Christmas albums ever released came out, the Phil Spector Christmas album that's got the Ronettes and the Bobby Sox and the Crystals and Darlene Love and quite a few. Not a bad track on here. Wonderful Christmas album. It's getting to be that season to start playing some Christmas music. But we jump forward to 5 years and 1968, which makes it the 50th anniversary of both of these albums, both of which are a 10, and you know what I'm talking about. Let's start with the best of the two albums released that year in November 22nd of 1968, and I haven't seen many people or anyone show this yet. I got this a couple of 2 or 3 weeks ago, the deluxe box edition of the Kinks, or the Village Green Preservation Society, which just so happens to be my second favorite album of all time, and definitely the best album in 1968. So it comes in this big box, got some cool stuff in it. I'm not very happy about that when it showed up in shipping, but otherwise it's in great shape. And just sort of show you what's in here. So you get the regular album, which was a single album when it was released, but it's a double album because there's the famous gatefold. There's the back of it. Great album art. You get the album in mono and you get the album in stereo, which is great to have. I just played the mono album today. Sounds really great. I've been playing this. Is one of my favorite fall and winter albums anyway, so I play it a lot this time of year, regardless of anniversaries. But this being the 50th anniversary, this is an album that criminally was overlooked, didn't even chart in America. I don't know what it did in England, but it didn't do too well. I don't know what it did chart-wise in England, but I know it didn't do too well, unfortunately. It's since been come to be regarded as a classic album, and it certainly is. If you said this a million times, if you love 60s music, if you love Beatles, Rolling Stones, Who, all that stuff, if you don't have this album, it's like not having Sgt. Pepper, and it's actually a better album than Sgt. Pepper, and I love Sgt. Pepper, but anyway, essential. So you get in the box set, you get the vinyl, mono, and stereo copy, but you get a lot of other stuff too in the box set, and let's take a look and see. First of all, there's the box again. You get, as it was originally released in another country, and I can't remember, I just went blank on which one, Sweden or something. This was the original release that only came out, and I probably got the country wrong, but Sweden or Denmark, and it has a lot of the same songs, but it has a few songs that didn't end up on the regular album, like Days and Mr. Songbird. So it's a slightly different version of the album. It's kind of neat to have. If you can find an original of this, they're worth a pretty penny. Hard to find. So there's on the red, or I guess the maroon or red pie label, The labels on this, in case you're interested, are sort of a light blue and black pie label, and I think the mono is the same label basically. So you got that. So basically you got 3 albums in there. Then you get this big book that opens up, and you get several 45s, reproductions of 45 picture sleeves from around the world. So you get days, and she's got everything, neither of which were on the regular Village Green album. You've got Starstruck and Picture Book, both of which were on the Village Green album. You've got the title track, Village Green Preservation Society, and Do You Remember Walter, both of which, of course, are on the album. Back here, and I'll get to this in a minute, is where you've got the 5 CDs. They're not in here, and I'll explain why in a second. Also, you get, because I was one of the first 1,000 to order the box set, and they're gone now, but with the first 1,000 you got a bonus single called The Time Song, and it's backed by Village Green Preservation Society. Time Song is actually a song from a couple of years later, 1973 or so, but it's a beautiful song, and it's unreleased, and it was recorded in March of '73, so this album, of course, came out in '68, but it kind of fits in there. It's from what's supposed to be on the Preservation Act 1 album, but wasn't released. They didn't use it, so it's a wonderful song to have, and it kind of ties in. Nice little picture sleeve there, and good to have the single, and as far as I know, this is the only way you can get it officially, is if you were one of the first 1,000 to order this box set, so nice to have that. Also in this book, you get, I should have taken all this stuff out beforehand probably. Here's the hack sticker that I saved from the cellophane. You get this black envelope, which is chock full of a whole bunch of stuff, and I will sort of run through it here. You get a little booklet which has some information about the album and the tracks. Kind of neat. You get I'm actually thinking of having this framed, which is the gatefold, poster of the gatefold, which is really cool. So I'm thinking of having that framed. As I said, you get a booklet that is the sheet music to the song Days. So that's a neat little thing to have. I guess that's a reproduction of the actual sheet music that was sold. Really nice package here. You get a bunch of 8x10 pictures. And I'll show you those. Like I said, this is going to be a long video, so pull up a seat. Here's another one. And you get another poster that is from a, well, it doesn't really say, it's a Sunday, April 21st appearance, but I guess it's a Kinks concert from around '68, and the Kinks and the Herd and Gary Walker, the Tremolos, all those people. Ola and the Janglers, don't know them, but kind of a neat little concert poster reproduction. get a little promo postcard, and on the back it's got some of their singles and albums listed, and a 1968 concert ticket, Winter Gardens in Bournemouth. That's in England, I think. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Kinks, of course, didn't play America from 65 until 69, so that's a big reason of why their best albums that came out in the mid to late 60s didn't do so well in America. And I think that's it for that. So really neat, like an old photo album book this is, which makes sense when you got a couple of songs about pictures, picture book, and pictures. People take pictures of each other on the album, and neat. But that's not all. You get a book, and it's chock full of pictures and information and memories of the album from Ray and Dave and Mick Avery, I think. Peter Quaife, of course, unfortunately passed away a few years ago. So, very beautiful coffee table size book there. And that is that. So, one thing I'm not happy about with this box set, or several others that I have, and I don't have it with me because I have my records delivered to my office, and I left it at the office, but there was a piece of cardstock, cardboard, or paper that, when it was sealed, was back here, and it listed all the what was on all the CDs and the albums and the other stuff that was in the box set, and it's not attached. It was just loose, and so it's too big to slide it into the box set, and that always annoys me because you don't know what to do with them. Here's an example. Here's one from the Led Zeppelin 2 box set with the album and CDs and books that came out a few years ago that was just, and this one has the flaps, so that went on the top of the box, and it doesn't really fit in the box for the Led Zeppelin thing. It's also, the box set of Smile has one of those, so they're kind of a pain. I wish, because basically I just take these and lay them flat in the bottom of the dresser drawer so they don't get bent up or torn up. But since the back of that is blank, they should have just put that information on there, which this is Led Zeppelin, not the Kinks, but you get the picture. I should have brought the one from work. So that's kind of a little complaint. But what I did, well, I'll show you, because those CDs actually are not hard to get in and out of here in this instance. And I'll talk about it with the other one here in a minute. Those pretty much just pop in and out of there pretty easily, but not so much with the next thing I'm going to show, so I'll talk about it then. But you get, what do you get? 5 CDs in addition to the albums. So you've got the CD that's the stereo version of the album. You've got the mono version of the album, and these have bonus tracks on them, some of which have already been released in earlier anniversary editions of Village Green. You get Village Green Sessions, which is some alternate takes and instrumental without the vocals and so forth. And some of them are just backing vocals. Interesting to hear. You get to hear how the album came together and formed. Kinks at the BBC with a lot of Village Green material and some other material that's earlier than that album, but mainly Village Green stuff. And then demos, sessions, and some more live stuff on disc 5. So fascinating. There's some stuff in here that hadn't been released before, so it's been a lot of fun to listen to this and delve into this album. I did a review of this album, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. Actually did like 2 30-minute videos on it, so I'm not going to go through it too much, but it's just a beautiful album of bittersweet memories of the past and youth, and the sort of an idea that things were better then than they are now type, and just all the things that we've lost in modernity and corporate world and so forth. And I could go through each song, but like I said, I've already reviewed this, so you can look it up if you want to. Just to say, if you've never heard this album, if nothing else, go to YouTube, type in the Kinks or the Village Green Preservation Society. It's going to take 20-25 minutes of your life. Give it a listen, because you're really doing yourself a disservice if you're a 60s rock and roll fan and you don't own this or you haven't heard it. It's it's one of the best albums ever made. And like I said, in my opinion, it's the second best album ever. And it's the best album of that year, 1969. But it just edges it, because there's another album that's right there nipping at its heels and is almost as good. Maybe right there, but Village Green edges it just a little bit. You know what it is. So, of course, I've seen a ton of videos of people opening this up and showing it, so I'm not going to open it up. I will say that the book is amazing. I've already read it cover to cover. They did a really good job overall on the remix and the extras. I've got a few quibbles. I'll get into that in a second. But there's my number for those who are interested. Wish I got number one, but I guess I'm happy with 61,105. This, of course, slides off, so the book is just all white, with the exception of the number and the embossed Beatles, which you can probably barely see there, and 6 CDs. And so what I was talking about on these CDs, we'll go through that real quick. There is, these are all in stereo. Disc 1, Disc 2, that's the regular album remixed. There's the Escher, I don't know, Escher demos, which is kind of cool because that's different than all the rest of them with the white apple with the green background. Sessions disc, number 1, I guess. Another Sessions disc. Another Sessions disc. And the Blu-ray, which I have not. I've listened to everything. I haven't played the Blu-ray yet. And I'm not sure that the Blu-ray, it has the mono album, but I don't think the Blu-ray otherwise has anything that's not on these other CDs. And I don't think it even has I don't think it has the session stuff. Could be wrong because I haven't played it yet. Reason I did that was that, well, here, I'll open this and show you. You've probably seen this, but here's the CDs in there, paper cardboard sleeves, and there's the others. So 7 CDs, and the Blu-ray, 6 CDs in the Blu-ray. Those are a bitch and a half to get in and out of there, because the little paper sleeve, which should have been heavier stock cardboard, fits in there, and then it's just, I could see that pulling those in and out, that paper sleeves were going to get mangled and torn up in no time flat. So I took them out, took the CDs out, went to Office Depot or Staples or wherever, bought these little plastic CD holders, and that way I don't ever have to go into the book, other than if I just want to read it again or look at the pictures, which I probably will, but I don't have to mess with pulling the CDs in and out. I did the same thing because they were sort of a pain in the ass to get them in and out of the John Lennon Imagine set. So there's your discs for the Imagine set. And there's a couple of Blu-rays. Listen to all of these. Wonderful set. Haven't played the Blu-rays yet. Need to do that soon. So, I said the book is wonderful, but we've had a ton of videos of people showing them. A lot of great information on every song, when they recorded, the dates they recorded, information about how the song came to be about, what they added, who played on the songs. Just some really cool information about kind of a overview or thoughts on the White Album 50 years down the road, and how it still sounds like it could have been recorded yesterday. and still holds up, and is still a wonderful, confused jumble of chaos and wonder and sadness and joy and life itself. So, also some stuff that I didn't know was that they were recording, because it came out November 22nd of that year. They were recording right into October, so they were really pushing up against the clock to get everything recorded so that it could be mixed and pressed into the albums. And it says in the book that they originally didn't had printed up pressed albums, but they didn't have the sleeves in yet, so they were going right against the clock to get this thing out on November 22nd, and but they did. So there's that. In addition to the Super Deluxe box set with CDs, I also got the vinyl set with the album and the extra demos, which set this over here. I haven't shown, I don't know, I think I've seen one or two people show this, but the box is kind of hard to open, but there's the box, there's the hat sticker I stuck inside the box. Kind of a cool little booklet with it that, and I haven't read this, I think this is some of the stuff that's in the regular big book with the Super Deluxe set, I believe, but I'll look and see. And one quibble, well, two quibbles with this is that I wish they would have numbered this box set too, because it's not like it would have taken any real effort to do so. There's the back of the box set with the track listing. The inside is just white. You got your poster, and I'm not going to unfold that because you all know what it looks like. And the pictures are, I think, in here too. Or I think they are. There's the Extra Demos album. Got the embossed Beatles. Got the alternate 4 photos, pictures, track listing, just like the regular album. White on the back, except for the stereo. And the sleeves are like the CD. I mean, the label is like the CD label. You got the black sleeves there. And I have played the white album quite a bit on the Super Deluxe set. I have not played the vinyl yet. Here's your regular white album, the remastered version that we all know and love. And there's your Apple that we all know, black sleeve. My quibble with this is that for the price, it's a shame that this is stereo, of course, it's a shame that they didn't include a mono vinyl copy with the top loader sleeve, because, you know, why not? I've got the mono CD set of the Beatles, so I've got the White Album on mono, and it is on the Blu-ray disc, but I didn't get the mono box set when it came out, and unfortunately I got the stereo box set, and now the mono box set is sold out, and they go for pretty outrageous price if you can find them. And I think you can still find a mono White Album single, but I just haven't tracked one down yet, so it would have been nice to have it with this set. And so yeah, but nice set, nice to have both of those. So what else? Some of the things that I've really enjoyed, I mean, the Extra Demos I've heard before on bootlegs, but it's good to have them in pretty clear audio, and nice to have them. The Long Helter Skelter, the 27-minute one they chose not to release, I wish they would have, because there's no reason not to. I know my friend Joe, Mean Mr. Mayo, said he wasn't interested in it, and that he had heard that Mark Lewison, noted Beatle author, has heard it and said that it's not very good. Well, love reading Mark's books. I wish he'd hurry up and come out with the second in his trilogy of books. but I don't really care whether Lewison thinks it's good or not. I would like to hear it and decide for myself, and I know that there's a lot of other Beatle fans that would love to hear it too. And it's not really a point of it being good or bad. It might be awful, but I would like at least to have the chance to hear it in my lifetime. And at this point, it's been 50 years. Why not put it out? They could have easily just included a maxi single, a 12-inch single album in the Super Deluxe set with that in there. They'd have to make the box bigger, of course, or they could have done it in the 4 LP vinyl set. They did release the 12-minute version, which I think is the 27-minute version just cut because it sort of just, the song just cuts off all of a sudden. So that's probably what it is. But and if they're thinking that this would have, if it's not any good, and they're thinking, well, this would not look well on the Beatles, this song that's not any good, who cares at 50 years later? Because you casual Beatle fan is not going to be buying the Super Deluxe set or the 4 vinyl set anyway. The casual fan is maybe, probably even not, but maybe going to buy the CD of just the regular remastered White Album 50th Anniversary Edition. Probably not even that. The casual fan's probably going to buy one and maybe a copy of Sgt. Pepper on CD or MP3. Or maybe even be like, I like the Beatles, but they're on the radio all the time, so I'll just hear them when I hear them. So, the casual fan isn't going to be buying this stuff anyway. The only people, 99.9%, that's going to be buying this stuff are your hardcore Beatle fans. And your hardcore Beatle fans are going to be forgiving if the 27-minute version of Helter Skelter is lousy. And maybe it's lousy, maybe it's good, I don't know. But it would sure be nice to be able to hear it and decide for myself. And, I like Revolution number 9 when I'm in the mood for it. A lot of people think it's just a bunch of noise. Fair enough. But certainly some of the stuff that's on here, like What's the News, What a Shame, Mary Jane, and Lost Paranoia, both of them not very good songs, pretty lousy songs, in fact. But I'm glad that they're included because they're part of the White Album creation genesis process. And they're not anything that I'm going to go out of my way to listen to again, but I'm glad they're there. And it doesn't hurt that they're there. They're on CD. I can just hit the skip button and go to the next song. It's not like I have to listen to them. But so I'm disappointed that they didn't release the long version of Helter Skelter because it's there. Same thing last year with Carnival of Light. Everyone says it's lousy. Okay, it's lousy. Let us hear it. It might be something you listen to once and never play again, but what's it going to hurt to put it out at this point? But now to the good things. I think that the Super Deluxe Edition is a great, overall, great package, great sounding. There's a few things on the regular Helter Skelter, on the regular remastered album, and several people have said this. The guitar that comes in way too quiet. It should come in and punch you in the gut. Ringo's I Got Blisters on My Fingers is way too quiet. Some people have talked about the hand claps on Opla Dee Opla Da being kind of off, and I went and listened to it because I didn't really notice it the first time I played through it, but I listened to it and kind of haven't decided whether I think they're off or not yet. But anyway, what else? The long version of Helter Skelter that is on here, the 12-minute version, I guess opinions are mixed. I really love it. I think it's just a great kind of blues groove. Enjoy it. I get a kick out of it. It's not anywhere near as good as the released version, which is a faster, blistering rock and roll song. This is sort of a slow groove blues song, like I said. But I like just the guitar playing and just the tempo and pace, and it's a nice alternate version. I really enjoy it. My friend Joe says he can't stand it. To each his own. And I can see where a lot of people would think it was kind of boring, and I can see where other people would think it's kind of a good, just sort of a jam groove song. and I really get a kick out of it. The instrumental version of Birthday that's on the Sessions CD, great. Love the guitar. It's a lot of fun. Same thing with the instrumental versions of Savoy Truffle and Piggies. Um, the short Helter Skelter that's on the Sessions album, where Paul's going whoop 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 whoop, is a lot of fun. Not as good as the final release version, but a lot of fun. And it's just cool to listen to these and see how these songs sort of grew and formed and changed and developed over time. A lot of this stuff, after you listen to it a few times, you're probably not going to go back and listen to it too much in the future, but it's a lot of fun to hear it. And some of these songs are going to be kind of fun to listen to down the road, I think, um, also. So the short Helter Skelter, really good. The Revolution one that sort of brings in elements of Revolution number 9 is a lot of fun. It's a great song. Good Night with the shared vocals. Really enjoyed that. I'm glad they went with the version they went with on the album that was released in '68 because it's probably the better version, but it's fun to hear that. Um, Honey Pie instrumental, love it. It's incredible. I think that George Martin was under a big time constraint to knock that out pretty quick, and he did A+ job on it. It sounds like it just sounds like 20s music. It sounds like a film soundtrack from a movie from the 20s or 30s. And it's a, you know, some people call it Paul's granny music. I've always kind of liked the song, but just the instrumental backing music or soundtrack music or orchestral music, whatever you want to call it, isolated by itself is a real treat. So, yeah, uh, 10 out of 10 on that album. I think they did a good job. I think they did as good, well, actually probably better than they did on the Pepper album last year. But there's a few little things I wish they would have done different. That's always going to be the case. Same with the Kinks album. I think they did a great job. It's a lot of fun to hear. And yeah, so that's it. The other thing is that it's been a exciting roller coaster year for music. This last September now, because we've had just tons of goodies and almost an embarrassment of riches and almost too much, especially for the pocketbook. But it's just been really hard to digest all this stuff because September we got Paul's new album, which is great. I went and had not listened to it in a while, and about a week or so ago I've got it on vinyl, I've got it on CD, and I'm driving to work and I put the CD in, and I've probably been maybe a month or so since I'd heard it last. And so I thought, I'll play this and see how I feel about it a month down the road, 3 weeks, a month, whatever it was. I think it's great. It gets better and better. Is it one of his best albums? No, but it's certainly not one of his worst. And it's a good, solid album, especially considering that man is 76 years old. And, if I was ranking his albums, it'd probably be somewhere in the middle or the upper middle. But very good, very solid album. So you've got Paul's album to digest. Then we had the John Lennon Imagine set, which at first I wasn't going to buy because I've got the Record Store Day box set from a few years ago, and I thought, well, what's going to be on there that's not on that? But then I unfortunately started listening, because I listened to all the Beatle podcasts, and they were talking about that and playing, excerpts from different songs on there, and I thought, well, damn it, guess I'm gonna have to go buy that. So I went and bought that, and it's over there. I'm not gonna walk over and get it, but I've been delving into that. It's one of my favorite John albums. I'll get to that when I get to the John reviews. I know I'm stuck in the George and haven't done a George review in forever, and I need to get on that and finish those off. So we got Paul's new album, we got John's Imagine set, we got this incredible new album by Elvis Costello, which is really good. So we got that to digest. We got the Kinks box set, we got the White Album stuff, and then here in week and a half, 2 weeks, we get Red Rose Speedway and Wildlife. Um, Two of my lesser favorite Paul albums, but I'm interested to see what the bonus tracks and all. And I do like, there's a lot of stuff I like on Wildlife, even though there's a lot of junk on there. So I'm interested to see what those bonus tracks are on that. And the same with the fact that Wildlife was originally supposed to be a double album, and to see they're going to release what was supposed to be the double album and other bonus tracks. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'll even give Wildlife another chance, even though that's one of my least favorite of his albums. But looking forward to that. So I'm hoping next year, I know we're probably going to get Abbey Road. I know we're probably going to get London Town and Back to the Egg, which I'm really looking forward to in the Archive series. And I'm hoping that's about it, because I don't think my pocketbook could sustain another one of these years. But all this stuff, and then a couple other albums that are just totally unrelated that I bought. I bought some Fairport Convention albums that I've been listening to, and so there's just so much music to digest that it's hard to even try to do any kind of review on all of this stuff yet. But it's been fun. I've been enjoying it, and good Lord, I've gone on forever here. If anyone's still listening, hope you're having a great Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great Christmas season coming up, and eat a lot of turkey, have some fun, and listen to some good music. Go out and buy this if you haven't. You need it. It's great. And it's damn good too. His first album back in 10 years, and I wasn't expecting much out of it, but it's a really solid album. I'm going to do a review of this sometime soon. And cool. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Christmas coming up. And good night.